So at this time, I'd like to get down to the important part of the day where we have our speakers. And today we have three speakers with us, the three kings from the Winter Carnival with us here today. We are very fortunate to have two of the kings, which are members of our organization, the club, and it's just great to have you. I'm going to lead off by just having Monty, so it's Monty Johnson, it's Dan Stoltz, and Bill, oh boy, Bill, Bizarre, thank you, is our three kings. And I'm going to, if you just give me just a minute before you start, I'm going to try to get you guys on the screen here so that you are spotlighted for everybody, so we can make that work. Now it's going to take me a second here, so give me a minute, Bill, or got to find all you guys again here. Let's see, the spotlight, and then we got to come back to where's Dan. Okay, I should have all three. You should see just the three on the screen here. So Monty, I'll let you start with the program, your thing, and we'll just go from there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. We're excited to be here. Terry, you want to add Bill Foussard? We've got Bill Gibbon, our current Boreas, as well. Perfect. That's great. And I think most of you certainly in the Optimist Club know who I am. I'm president CEO of Simba Corporation, believe in community service, and been a member for a number of years here. And I'll just turn it over so we can get right into it. I'll move it over to Dan.
Well, Optimist, Dan Stoltz with Spire, but more importantly and proudly an Optimist. Love this group, and you energize me. You give me the confidence and the joy, and I love being with this group. So proud and humbled to be a presenter today. So I'll hand it over to Bill.
I'm Bill Foussard from White Bear Country and Rudy's Red Eye Grill. Was Boreas in 2008, and just a lot of history with St. Paul Winter Carnival. My dad was a guard in the 40s, prime minister in the 50s, and Boreas in 63. And my godfather, just a lot of, he was Boreas in 54. So I was around different people that was in the carnival and just saw what they did. And it was just very interesting and always giving back into the community. That's quick. And I can go into, if you want to move forward to our crest. I know we're short on time.
Before we do that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the topic today, the wisdom of the three kings. Ma, you want to bring in the next session, the next piece, because I think it's very important that we also recognize that we're the three wise guys, Curly, Larry.
Oh my God, yeah.
And hopefully we'll give you something else. But I want to spend just a couple minutes on the history of the St. Paul Winter Carnival. The story is that back in 1885, there was some journalists that came to St. Paul. They went back to New York and wrote a story about how this place was like a Siberia, uninhabitable for human habitation. And the city leaders took great umbrage with that. And so they put together a winter carnival in 1886. And this is the oldest festival in the United States. You might know the Tournament of Roses, which started in 1890, and the Fiesta San Antonio, which started in 1891, but our festival predates that. So we built a ice palace in 1886. The good fortune was that the Montreal Ice Palace had to be canceled due to a smallpox epidemic. And so we were able to get the key people from Montreal to come to St. Paul and start our Winter Carnival. So over the years, this Winter Carnival has developed into many different things, but one of the key things, it's always been about celebrating community, celebrating the different parts of our community, and the parts of our community have changed a little bit over those years. If you go back to that first ice palace, that was the first electrically lighted structure in the city of St. Paul. So think about that. The first structure that had electrical lighting was 136 years ago. I know everybody who served in this role as King Boreas is very appreciative of the history and the legend. King Boreas has four brothers: the North Wind, the East Wind, the West Wind, and the South Wind. And along with princesses and a queen and a prime minister and royal guards, they reign over a winter carnival every year. At the end of that carnival, Volcanus Rex. brings the warmth and spring. And so on good counsel of the Queen, King Boreas and the royal family goes back to Olympus, and we get spring, but then next year we know that King Boreas will come back and bring us Winter Carnival again. So it's a great history, it's a great story, and I think that story has helped this festival continue. And again, it's all about community, and part of that is beyond just St. Paul. We do parades, and I would say anything within 150 miles of the St. Paul. I'm sure that Dan and Bill and Bill coming up this summer will understand that we go to every fruit and vegetable festival around, whether it's rutabagas or blueberries or strawberries, it doesn't matter. We're there bringing the joy, as Robert talked about earlier. Giving joy and spreading joy is really a key purpose and part of the history of St. Paul Winter Carnival. So we have visiting festivals from around the country. Winnipeg, Canada comes here, La Crosse Oktoberfest, Aquatennial across the river. The South Dakota Snow Queen Festival was started by our own festival in the St. Paul JCs 75 years ago. We have Springtime Tallahassee. We have Macon Cherry Blossom Festival in Georgia, Bradenton, Hernando de Soto. They all come to our festival, and then we go to their festivals. So it's a great exchange of festival stuff as well. So it's a great history. Some of it ties directly to Roseville. I was prime minister in 1990. The king that year was Lou Collette. Many of you know Lou. Of course, he passed away some time ago now, but that was the first time the king and queen had been literally within a mile of each other in terms of living. And then the person I chose as my prime minister was Miss Roseville in 1993, Megan Reed, now Quiggle. And she was our first Black Miss Roseville, but not the only Miss Roseville to become Queen of the Snows. And when I was looking for someone of high character, great organizational ability, as all prime ministers are, Megan came to the top of that list, and it was just fantastic. So with this, I am going to turn this over to Bill. No, I'm going to turn it over to Dan. Dan, you're going to introduce the current royalty.
All right. Well, hail Boreas. Again, we're super excited to all be here. Both Monty, Bill, and I are past kings. What a huge honor, but we're certainly has-beens. And I got to tell you that this new royal family, I'm going to say they're the best ever. Every year we get better and better. They're phenomenal. And we would normally love to do this in person because there's a little bit of pomp and circumstance with this, but I just want you to know that our king and queen and prime minister are so committed. And just understand this, a part of that history is not only were they optimists in 1885 to start Winter Carnival, but literally the families that say yes to this, they're committing to 350 plus visits a year beyond their normal job, beyond their normal life of giving back and making a difference in the Minnesota community. So this royalty is just beginning, and they're doing a great job. So I'm going to introduce to you the Prime Minister. To put this in business terms, I always say the Prime Minister is like the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, the one that holds the family together. That's the keeper of the family. And Boreas is that CEO president. So here we go. I'm going to do my formal introduction. So at this time, it is my honor, and I'd like to introduce to you Her Excellency, the Prime Minister to the Royal Court of Boreas Rex, the 85th in the St. Paul Winter Carnival, from the Royal House of Wyper and Fire Boss, Ms. Christine Army. Let's give her a round of applause, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So first, let me just say it's a pleasure to be here and to learn about the Optimist Club. And you made my day by sharing ways to put joy into my day, because the 10 days of Carnival certainly warmed my heart in all the people that we made smile and spreading the magic of Winter Carnival, from schools to nursing homes and different business organizations that we went to. And now I've had a week back at work. And so I needed your pep talk this morning. So thank you for that. And now I have a way to make sure that morning, day, and night that I'm staying on track where I need to be. And so at this time, I wanted to introduce you to our current king. We call him the mighty monarch of ice and snow. And it's been a pleasure getting to know this person. And he's done an awesome job. And I look forward to a year with him. And man of character and love his mantra. And so I present to you King Boreas, the 85th, William Given.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a true pleasure to be here and to also learn about the Optimist. My Queen of the Snows, Aurora, Miss Effie Barnes, is a working person at the Highland Bank, and she had to go back to work. So I apologize for her having to get off the call. But I do want to talk and just touch on some of the things that the Winter Carnival will be about and has been about. And to put it into perspective, just a couple thoughts. Coca-Cola was founded the same year as the St. Paul Winter Carnival. The Statue of Liberty is 136 years old also. And the tuxedo was invented 136 years ago, just to put into perspective how many years we've been around. And I am the 85th king of the Winter Carnival. I'm very proud to be there. I did a little work in your community in Roseville when I was younger. You might remember Marie Slowick and the Harmar Ball, which our company catered for almost 18 years. And prom catering is where I came from, the Prom Ballroom on University in Lexington. And later did tremendous amount of catering throughout the country. But I'm retired now, and I have a lot of time to give back. And my mantra this year for our royal family is bringing us all together. And at a time when maybe we're not always together, at a time where we've been masked out, vaccinated, separated, we want to bring us all back together. We want to bridge divides, bridge ethnicities, bridge differences, and celebrate one another, celebrate our city, celebrate our history, and of course, celebrate the potential for the future. I have a charity that I'm working with, which some of you may or may not have heard of. It's the Rondo Center for Diverse Expression. And I grew up in the Midway area of St. Paul in my career and chasing my dad around at the Prom Ballroom. And as many of you may know, the Rondo Street was vacated to put in Interstate 94 back in the early 60s. But the Rondo community is one that is very diverse. It's a center cultural point of our city. And as many of you may know, the city of St. Paul came from immigrants, built on immigration. We have the largest Hmong community in the United States. And the Rondo mission is to bring elders together with youthful imagination and collaborations with old and young to find a pathway for success for the young people. And their vision is to offer a space to reflect those values in history for the African American community of Rondo. And they believe in self-esteem and trying to give these young people a path, as I said, to succeed. And at this time, when we are in many ways divided politically, we seem to be divided about different issues. We're trying to bring people and give them a chance to succeed. And as I said in my King's speech, and I'm saying it today, what a better nonprofit, what a better organization to support with elder people who have succeeded to bring together 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and get together and communicate and talk about how and why and they can succeed in the world ahead of them. And I'm supporting this nonprofit I'm reaching out to our community to support them, and I'm just excited about the opportunity, if you will, and the platform that I've been given to be king of the carnival this year, and to help support our community into the future. I love the comment that Robert made about joy, and I have to say that as my prime minister had indicated, the smiles on the faces of the children that we touched already, and in the parade, people, older people, smiling that we're getting back together again, that we're getting back to normal maybe. It's something that's overwhelming, and I look forward to continuing that throughout the country, and certainly in the communities in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area as well. That's my story. I'm excited to represent our city and the history of the Winter Carnival. The three kings that are on this call ahead of me, phenomenal people. And I know that, I revere them. They're very successful. They're very giving of their time and energy beyond what I can even comprehend. But thank you for being optimistic. Thank you for the lessons of optimism and the ideas of joy, because ultimately that is the fulfillment that we all have. Thank you for listening.
And now at this time, Mai, you're about to be joined by a few special people with the recognition that you have. We have a couple knightings to do today. And so I don't know if you can also bring into the picture here, Terry, Jim Collins, Chuck Gitson, and Kurt Stockford.
Yes, give me a moment here and I will
Okay.
do that. Gotta find
Jim
these
Collins.
folks here. Let's see, at Spotlight.
There we go.
Give me a second to get these
Hi,
folks.
Jim.
Let's see, where's Kurt? At a Spotlight. And who else was that?
Chuck Gitson.
Oh, Chuck Gibson. Yes, I got Chuck here someplace. It's always fine to, try to find these people when you're got me on the fly here. So
Well, there's 3 pages of people to go through. This is
I know,
a great
I know.
up here. I love it.
How's
It's kind of
that?
awesome. There they are. This is my first virtual, our first virtual. Billy, I don't think you've done one, obviously without me. So here we go. You are about to be knighted by Boreas Rex the 85th. And it goes like this. We, Boreas Rex, King of the Winter Carnival, in token of our esteem and reposing the utmost confidence in your ability to do honor to this illustrious position, do hereby appoint
Jim Collins, Count of Accounting, Treasurer Supreme on the Roseville Optimist scene. Chuck Gibson, Count of Character, Secretary Supreme of the Roseville Optimist Supreme, or scene, excuse me. Kurt Stockford, Count of Character, Newsletter Editor Supreme of the Roseville Optimist scene. I'm knighting you now on your shoulders, each one of you.
Boreas charges
Virtually.
you to have and to hold the said office with all the rights, responsibilities, appurtenances, and hereditaments thereto belonging, or by law in any wise appertaining for the full term of our reign. In testimony whereof we have hereunto set our hand and caused the great seal of our dominion to be affixed in the city of St. Paul, Minnesota,
St.
our
Paul,
right
Minnesota.
royal winter capital, this 11th day of February in the year of our Lord 2022, signed Boreas Rex the 85th, William Gibbon.
Hail Boreas.
Hail Boreas, hail Boreas, yes. And at this point, we would love to pin that medal on you. If we were face to face, you'd be adorning that on your clothing and we'd be handing you a certificate. But what I can tell you is they're in the mail. But it's still official and we have witnesses.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Boreas 85, Prime Minister. Thank you for recognizing 3 key members of our Optimists group. And I think we will proceed on. And Bill, if you want to take over the next slide, why we did this.
Why we did this, everybody loves St. Paul. Everyone loves our community and it's working together to make it better. we all do different things and we share different talents, and we share that throughout our community. So I think there's 6,000 members of St. Paul Winter Carnival. Everybody touches in a different way. The leadership and whatever, every Boreas brings something different to the table. And our year was make a difference in whatever you do. Make a difference. Share the magic of St. Paul from all of us. And being of service is a way of life. And growing up and stuff, we were always doing stuff. Our family's always involved in community. And I just think that's what it's all about. Giving back, sharing, make a difference, putting a smile. Earlier on, we talked about going in parades and all the different communities and stuff like that. But I think one of the key things, we're touching lives of people in the hospitals, nursing homes, different things. I think we went to Children's Hospital. We walk into the room, there's 15, 16 of us. And this guy says, he's laying flat in his bed. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're here to bring you joy." I didn't know why he was in the hospital. He looked at me and sort of complex looking, whatever. I learned that he was paralyzed from a swimming accident. So I went around our queen. He was young. He's like 18 years old. Our queen started talking to him. I went and visited some other people. The last stop, leaving Children's Hospital, I went and saw him again. I said, "I hope I didn't invade your space. We're just here to visit and things like that." And he was paralyzed. He could move his neck and face and stuff like that. But he said, "I want to tell you something." He said, "You've changed my attitude where I was today." And just by talking and visiting and stuff like that, it's incredible. So you touch people in so many different ways. All of us do it differently, but making a difference is what it's all about. But we got to do it. We just can't talk about it. You got to do it. So just being of service, a way of life. Our crest, just explain it and stuff like that. The White Bear is obviously our business, White Bear Lake. The fleur-de-lis is a French sign. We're French background. The pineapple is hospitality, Southern hospitality, but it's hospitality throughout. And the cornucopia is we do a program called Thanksgiving Meals on Wheels and just sharing what you have. And every Thanksgiving, we started something years ago and just has grown and stuff like that. So those are some of the special things in our crest. So Monty, do you want to talk about your crest, and Dan?
Awesome. No, I'll jump in on mine. Thanks, Bill. Bill was a great Boreas. Bill actually recruited me when they asked me to be Boreas. They asked me if I want to be involved in Winter Carnival. And I thought they meant maybe drive a float or deliver some meals to the Vulcans, or I didn't really know what was going on, but it was such an honor to be asked. You'll see my crest on the right side. So the crest is something that each Boreas puts together on their own. It's kind of like their mission statement, their value statement. And I love this process. So I'm just going to rather than tell you about my year, I'm going to talk about my crest. On the top, you'll see the crown. You know, you get to wear this crown all year round. There's gemstones on the top of that crown. It's my wife's gemstone on the top. Then my 3 adult children. You need to have your family say yes to this because you're gone quite a bit. When you say yes to Carnival, you say no to a lot of things. And my family's my foundation. Also, the cross there, my faith is really important to me as well. But then I'm Boreas Rex 79th, and that was 2015. I always talk about giving back your 3 T's: time, talent, and treasures. And we need to give back in that. And so I always made sure that was in my crest. That scepter is with the shining star. That star represents Spire. Also, the scepter is where you do all the knighting and where I had the most fun. A couple gavels there. I love the study of leadership. I also went to Johnson High School and we're the governors. So that kind of was my shout out to St. Paul there. Those coins are hard to read, but it says DREAM, DREAM. And my mantra was to chase your dreams. Wherever I went to, children's homes or anywhere else, was to, Disney said, if you can dream it, you can do it. So I just wanted to encourage people to chase your dreams. In between those coins, you'll see 4 snowflakes. Those 4 snowflakes represent the 4 Wind Brothers, the north, east, west, and south. So that's an important part of the family. The tree on the bottom, I had all my kids in the 10th grade, my real kids, read The Giving Tree. It's written for 4-year-olds. I had them read it just before they go into college, but it's all about giving back, making sure that life is about giving back. And that was my mantra. That was the key thing, is that life's about giving, not getting. And then just real quickly, the 2 eagles on both sides have had a big impact on me personally. I went to Northwestern College in Roseville, And so we were the Eagles. So one of the Eagles represents my college years. And then on the other side, I attend Eagle Brook Church. And so that Eagle represents that. If you'll see closely, the tongue is a golf club. I love golf. That's actually my passion on the side. So there's a golf club coming out there as well. And then the blue, you've seen Spire, but we want to give a shout out to the company that was supporting my time away and doing all this. So this was my mission statement, my value statement, and I could talk about that as I went out and about in my year. All right, so I'll hand it off to Monty and his crest.
Thanks, Dan. And I would be remiss if I didn't say a couple things. Bill Foussard and I have known each other for decades, and I met Bill because of his Thanksgiving Meals on Wheels. I was a JC president in St. Paul. He needed some help, and I was able to get some folks over to help him. But ever since I first met him, he is one of the most giving people you will ever meet in your life. He's fantastic. And actually, I think Bill Given, our current Boreas, and I met back 30 years ago as well. And I've got to know Bill over the last 9-10 months, and what a great, caring individual. And of course, Dan, who just went before me. Dan spends a good part of his day every day figuring out, how can I give back? And so those guys are great examples for me to come along here a few years ago as Boreas Rex the 83rd. For those of you that need the Latin explanation, LXXX111, that's 83 shorthand. But my crest, again, has great meaning to me. And overall, we have dogs on the side because we've had Bernese Mountain Dogs our whole life together, my wife and I, and they've been an important part in our family. We just had 48 Bernese Mountain Dogs down in the in and around downtown St. Paul as in amongst the ice sculptures last Saturday. It was really great. But so those were important to me, and it was kind of like, let's have fun with this and it was so great that Robert started this meeting with joy, because that's what I talked about my team in 2019, is that our number one objective is to give joy. And if you give joy, what's great about it is you get some back. And you get to keep that in your heart virtually for forever. It's not a currency that goes away. The more you give away, the more you get to keep. And so we tried to have fun with our crest as well. The crown, very much like Dan had mentioned, we were just quite pleased and humbled to be asked to serve as King Boreas. The green and gold background, as many of you know, I'm from Wisconsin. I grew up in the 60s when Vince Lombardi was winning championships. So green and gold's in my heart. We're never going to get away from that. That's just what it is. But one thing that always caught me that Lombardi said, it's maybe not his most famous quote, but he said, individual commitment to a group effort, that is what makes a team work, a company work, society work, a civilization work. So it's that individual commitment to a group effort. And that's what he impressed upon, and why the Super Bowl trophy, which is going to be handed out Sunday, is called the Vince Lombardi Trophy. 5 stars in the chevron, which I learned the chevron is that pointed thing. I didn't know that before I started working on a crest. And those 5 stars are my stars. That's my wife and my 3 kids, the 5 of us. As everybody knows, everybody in our family starts with an M. We're CPAs, so we thought M. Johnson for everybody. If anybody lost their luggage, we could find it. It's all M. Johnson. It's easy to do. And the dogs all have M names as well. The 2 snowflakes, one is the Winter Carnival logo, actually. And the logo is really about bringing people together, exactly what Boreas 85 Bill Given talked about. And it's about, and if you can't see it in color here, but it's got different colored folks, and our community is changing, and we need to bring all those people together. And we do that with our Winter Carnival, which tagline is the coolest celebration on earth. The other snowflake reminds us that each person and place is unique an individual, and that diversity improves lives for all of us. The cross in the middle, very much like Dan, our faith is very important to our family. Regardless of religion, I think that faith can be something that can spur community service and also becomes a real bedrock when times get tough. And so I think that is very important to me. The basketball in the lower left symbolizes multiple decades in service to youth. I coach many Roseville youth area basketball teams, but it also represents other sports programs because I did baseball, I did football, and I did scouting, and I'm still doing scouting 3.5 decades later. So that's what that means to me. On the right, the helping hand symbol is that we have the capacity to share our gifts. And as Dan pointed out, I use the similar thing, talking about your time, your talent, and your money to improve the community. And that ties back up to that snowflake as well, that as individuals, it's very important who we are as an individual, but coming together as a community, we can do great things. A community is different than a city. A city is laws, it's police, it's fire, it's services, things you need. But a community is what volunteers make out of it. And I think our Roseville community is in good stead because of a lot of the people on this call here today. So at the bottom, faith, family, and friends, that's been my motto ever since I started doing youth sports. And I always got the kids and parents together and I said, so what are the 3 most important things? Dribbling, shooting, no. And we'd go through the whole thing and it always came back to faith, family, and friends was the most important things, nothing to do with whatever sport we were talking about. So that's a little bit about my crest. Why I did this was an opportunity for us to serve the community, and that's what the new Prime Minister Christine and Bill Gibbon are doing as well. So let me turn this back to you, Dan.
Yeah, I think Bill was just going to cover why we're optimistic.
Oh, yes.
No problem. No problem.
Why are we optimistic? I mean, life is good. COVID's going away. St. Paul has eased up on regulations. People are out and about. We're around great people that care, making a difference, and business is growing. There's all challenges, but it's how you handle it, accepting it, and moving forward. We're all very blessed.
Thank you, Bill. So I'm going to wrap up our time, and we'd love to answer any questions. Terry, I'm going to have you put us on gallery. I kind of like to wrap it up with seeing everybody if we can. Can we put the whole team on there, everybody from the Optimist Group? You can leave it here too, Terry. So what we wanted to do is just kind of finish it and let you know again, congratulations to the new king and our prime minister. And again, you're making us all so proud. And it's definitely a marathon, and you two are doing fabulous, and your royal family. We couldn't be more proud. And one thing I just want to say to the king, one kind of fun thing, you can see Monty, Bill, and myself. We've got our black suits. It means we've done it. And then we also Boreas gets a ring at the end of the year with your number on it. And if you're successful, you make it all the way through, Billy, which we know you will. We're proud to present you that ring, and it's going to be just awesome. So again, thanks for your great service. But so talking with Monty and Bill, I just want to wrap it up. I think it's always the power of 3. And I'd like to leave 3 things, but today, because we're royalty, we're going to stretch that to the power. I got 5 things I want you to take away from lessons from us. So the first lesson is really simple. Life's about giving, not getting. That's why we're in this. We believe strongly that you give. You give back in your time, talent, treasures. And that's what the Kings do. That's what the Primes do. That's what the Royal family, that's Winter Carnival, is giving back, making our community stronger, and just making people stronger. When you give, you get. The second lesson that I want you to remember is put yourself out there. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. Being King Boreas, being the prime minister, we've all got day jobs. We've all got all these other things. And then you're putting yourself out there, and you're out there speaking, you're out there doing things. And it was the best year of our lives. I think we'd all say that, but we put ourselves out there. You become more vulnerable. You put yourself, and I'm just saying to all the optimists, you get it. Put yourself out there. Take the chances. Say yes more than you say no. Lesson 2. Number 3, and this is the optimist creed, but make someone's day. Celebrate them. We're all different. Nobody's got more talents than anybody else. It's about really celebrating the uniqueness of people. That's the essence of the knighting process. It's saying thank you to so many amazing people. And to the optimists today, Boreas and Prime, they're going to repeat this knighting process over 1,000 times this year to thousands of people. Sometimes it's groups. And it's a matter of just saying thank you and recognizing their awesome contributions and celebrating them as optimists do. Number 4, I believe, two words we just don't say enough of, and those 2 words are thank you. And we need just to tell each other thank you more often. I mean, it's, as we talked about, a lot of things today, but again, that's a little part of the knighting process too, is to say, we see what you're doing and thank you, keep it up. And I really do believe we just don't say thank you enough, whether it's to our families, significant others, or it's our community, or as a society. Saying thank you just goes a long ways, and we all need it. I need it. And then lastly, the 5th lesson is that life is short and precious. And Winter Carnival, I think, taught us all that. And this speaks exactly and leans right into what you talked about, Robert. It couldn't have been orchestrated any better. But, life is short and precious. Let's have fun. Let's bring joy to one another. I mean, life is a grind. Life has got some tough stuff. But Winter Carnival is this celebratory, outside the box. Let's have fun. Let's celebrate. But that should be every day in what we do. And so again, my 5 lessons: life's about giving, not getting. Put yourself out there. Make others day and celebrate them. Number 4, say thank you. And number 5 is life is short. Let's have some fun and celebrate one another. All right. Terry, I think, and by the way, Terry, congratulations on your awesome appointment to the board. You asked us to be done at 12:45. It's 12:37. I think we've got time for a couple questions. We'd love to ask, or any questions for the King and Prime. I know they would love to answer them too.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, if we have some questions, you can either raise your hand. I see we have Chuck Gitson, or you can, best is to raise your hand if you can do that little thing in the reactions, because then we can find you. And we have Lynn Megan after Chuck. Chuck, go ahead.
I'd just like to say I'm honored to be knighted by the King and the Prime Minister. And it's such a small world. I marched in the Winter Carnival Parade for 15 years as a Hilux gnome, the Hilux trips. And I'm a Midway. We came from Midway, so my wife and I are both Midway people. And it's such a small world. I used to work with someone named Fred Edstrom, so I think the King probably knows him. So thank you again.
Thanks, Chuck. Lynn.
Thanks, wise guys. It was awesome. The Megan family is definitely a huge supporter of the St. Paul Winter Carnival, and Kevin Megan is a proud St. Paul bouncing team, which is as old as the Winter Carnival as well. And I'll tell you more about bouncing team if anybody wants to know. Why current Boreas are you 85th? And if the carnival has been around for 130 years, where's that gap? Were there not Boreases identified during that time, or what happened?
Well, I know a little bit of that history. I know that there were times during World War II that the carnival was suspended for, I think, 3 years. I know the pandemic of 1917, there was a gap of a few years as well. I think there were some gaps early on as well. But we brought it back. We've been around a long time, and I think that we've been without any interruption, with the exception of last year. We had a gap, but things will happen in history. The reality is, the wonderful thing is that we have a history, and the history goes back longer than really any other festival in the United States. So we're pretty proud of that.
Great.
Yeah, Lynn, and I might add that there was some years where there was a carnival, but not a new king, because they couldn't find anybody dumb enough to. No, I didn't say that. No. They had. It was a different kind of a carnival in certain way back in the early 1900s. So.
Other comments or questions, please. This is a great time. You've got folks here who've dedicated I'm always amazed at the time commitment. I thought optimism had some time commitment, but you say, I think Monty and Dan said the 300 more than 360 festivals that you go to throughout the year. So wow, that's sometimes you must be hitting 2 a day, I'm guessing. But that's just amazing.
Well, just
Terry, Don's over. I got a comment to make also, if you can work me in.
Yes, Don, go ahead. Work it in.
Well, first of all, congratulations to all three of the Boreases. I've talked to all of them the other day, and they just did a fantastic job. I think this is probably one of the best Optimist meetings we've had in 5 years from the standpoint of inspiration and leading by example. And I just wanted to mention 2 other things. 2 other King Boreases from the area, if maybe one of you could elaborate a little bit about. One was Bob Ashback, Ashback Construction, state senator and mayor of Arden Hills. And the other one was Bud Chandler, who Sandy Martin, the mayor of Shoreview, it was her husband. And he was really huge in Carnival, St. Paul, JC's, and among others. And then the last comment is, I wish Bill Foussard would tell a little bit about the power of the ripple effect of starting the turkey Thanksgiving promotion and giveaway things that he does at Cretin High School. That program was started many years ago, and Bill, and it's an example of what a good idea, an innovative idea, and the ripple effect of that idea can have. So that's what I would hope some of you guys could respond to.
Well, Bud Chandler was Boreas in 1962. He was best friends with my dad, who was Boreas the following year. And he was just an inspiration. I was a young kid, and he always took time. He died in his 40s with cancer, but he just took time out in the community where his friends' kids, and he just shared time and really cared about younger people. So his daughters, one lives in White Bear, one's mayor in Shoreview. They're just involved in the community. They have a passion to serve. Thanksgiving Meals on Wheels was organized out of an experience being at a friend's house when I was in high school. And I learned we'd go to my grandma's house, have anything we'd want basically, and stuff like that, sit around the table, everyone appreciating each other. Well, that night, Thanksgiving, probably 1969, I went to a friend's house that I worked with on the east side. And their family had nothing. I thought, oh God, we're going to have 2 Thanksgiving meals. And 7 kids. The dad was not a nice man, was a drunk, was really tough on the family and stuff like that. And the mom was there trying to keep everybody together. I thought, hey, they don't have Thanksgiving. Why don't we do one for them the next year? So we did that family in 1970, their family and 2 others, a total of 24 people. Took us, Barb Olson S. Leeson, was a childhood friend. We did my mom's kitchen, and took us all night to do food for 24 people. Now we can do it in like 10 minutes. And through that, people heard we were doing the program. This is our 51st year last year. It evolved. We've gone up to serving as many as 20,000 people, 4,000 families in a year. People hear about it. We work with 30 agencies, and it's just growing. It's evolving because of COVID and stuff like that. This last year, people contribute to it. And the money that we generally get to pay for the turkey and dressing, everything else is donated. Bread, rolls, pies, potatoes, vegetables, that's all donated. We took that money and got Cub food cards, and the Cub in White Bear Township was very helpful doing that for us and stuff like that. And we sent it out to families requesting need and stuff, or sharing their need. So it's evolved, but we're just one of many people that make all this stuff happen. And you think of Winter Carnival, 6,000 followers, people played a character, but they were celebrating our community, making a difference in our community. So it's just, out of experiences, how things grow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope
Other questions out there. This is a great opportunity. You can learn how to become king. Or there's lots of other positions. I think I remember Monty saying there are, how many volunteers, Monty? Did you usually need, this year was very difficult, but tell us about the volunteers needed to just put on the programs.
Well, sure. Outside of the royal family, where you have about 20 members of the royal family led by the King Boreas, you've got all the other volunteers working at the ice bar, the warming houses, at Snow Park at the not far here from Roseville, over at the State Fairgrounds. You've got people who stomp snow for days and days and days to make the snow sculptures. Obviously, you've got we don't have volunteers carve the ice. It takes a little bit of a professional skill to do that. But you've got all the other volunteers down there making that Rice Park happen. You've got for King Bill Given and Prime Minister Christine Army, you've got royal coordinators and a royal photographer who travel with them out of the goodness of their hearts to help them organize everything. And behind the scenes, you've got all these people doing all of this. We have very small staff. We have 3 people in staff. And as Dan alluded to, this goes along all year long. We do a lot of it in the 10 days. In fact, Bill and Christine were holed up in the St. Paul Hotel for 10, 11 days and just got done with that last weekend. And now for the rest of the year, they're going to be going all over the communities in the Midwest, down to the South, and everybody's paying for that themselves. So that's another misconception, is that this is all paid for by the carnival, by somebody else. But the king really, and the prime minister and the other characters take on a lot of expenses themselves to make this happen. And the reason that we do that is because we want to bring joy. And we want to celebrate community. That's if that's a theme, if you haven't heard that 12 times, there's 13. So
great. Thank you.
One other thing too is just a mentoring of Boreas. When you think about it, that's selected by a committee of past Boreases, and the mentoring 5 past Boreases and their spouses work for months nurturing and mentoring the new Boreas and just guiding them through the process and all the different things, just understand, speak, organize, and whatever. And that's an incredible commitment as well.
Great, thank you. Well, I'm gonna try to maybe start to wrap it up here a little bit. I do want to thank all of you for being here today. I think there's an opportunity that maybe as you're looking for the next years as we move into next year's Winter Carnival, that maybe the Roseville Optimist Club could make a difference in maybe supplying some of those volunteers. And maybe we can find someone in the club who would like to take up that flag and be able to help, because I think there is a great opportunity for us to get out and get ourselves known more in the community. And this would be a great opportunity for us. So I know you King Boreases have input to that. So as you think about that, get back to us and maybe we can start together. We'd be good snow stompers or something. I know we can probably figure out something that we can do that would be helpful. That'd be great. It'd be a lot of fun for us and just to get involved in more community projects. So thank you. Thank you. I do want to thank again, Christine and King Given for knighting our 3 new knights, Chuck, Kurt, and Jim. It's always great to have a few more nights in the program, and that's wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that. It was a great program. It was so energetic. It's interesting to hear the background. I love looking at the crests. I think that's probably more challenging. I was thinking to myself, wow, making a crest. It might be something you'd want to do just on your own time, sit down. How would you say to the community or say to your family or friends, how to make a crest? I'm from an English background, so we have a family crest that's kind of runs in our family a little bit. But think about how you might want to challenge yourself to just make a crest on your own that you could, do something. And boy, we get in a position like that. That's really interesting. I find that each one of you, all of you, not only the kings, but your prime ministers and your brothers and just a myriad of people that the 20 that go there are so optimistic, and you keep doing that. And I love the 5 points that Dan brought out. I think those are the things. And for you, we're going to get you a copy of our Optimist Creed. We'll get that to you somehow. We'll put it on a dog sled, or I don't know, maybe the post office will get it to you. But if you come to the next meeting in March, but we're going to get you a copy of the Optimist Creed, because I think that everything that you do is reflected in the Optimist Creed, and you should have one of these on your wall or on your desk. So thank you so much for your presentation today. It was very, very informative. I love it. It's just great. So thank you, all of you.